Getting Karen in the garden. Getting Karen in the garden.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Geeks in the Garden. That was our new theme song, Karen.
It's fabulous.
Yes, we're having fun. So I'm Kat, and I'll be talking today about celebrating floral design and creating a winter sangria as our Galentine Days garden teeny recipe. Boy, that's a mouthful. And I'm also going to chat about garden journaling with my Galentine, Karen.
Yeah. Always Galentine's Day rocks. And I'll be exploring roses in our fandom, roses in our garden plants, just what roses mean in general.
Great. So let's just get to it. February has National Floral Design Day at the end of the month on the 28th. It is a day set aside to recognize the art form and history involved in floral design. It truly is amazing to gaze upon a fantastical floral composition. I always find my brother and my mom have just the perfect eye, and they always have put together these really balanced and artistic vases of flowers from their garden. I've been going gaga at the inspirational photos as I plan my new cut flower garden bed. The way they use grasses, bark, seed pods, and leaves to contrast with all those soft florals, it truly is an art form. Quite by accident, I stumbled upon a TV show, The Great Flower Fight, last week on Netflix. I do remember that you told me about it, Karen, but I kind of forgot about it with my whole ADHD brain. It's a really fun escape, watching these talented designers structuring their florals and fauna and all their creations. And on a local note, two of the contestants from our town, Baltimore, Maryland, Susan and Jordan from Intrigue Designs, they did some really fun stuff on there. I find it's no better time of year to celebrate floral design than the doldrums of winter, when we need the lift that beautiful botanicals can bring. And another day of note for gardeners that just passed us by, but we should mention nonetheless, is National Seed Swap Day. That was at the end of January. It's celebrated every year as a way to remind people. And I think it's good to mention that folks are already running into seed shortages for some varieties from all the online sellers and catalogs. We know how many new gardeners are out there, and Karen and I just want to encourage you to participate and look for opportunities to swap these heirloom seeds. From seeds that you saved yourself or excess bought seeds, seed swapping is a great way to connect with fellow gardeners and build your personal seed stash with new varieties and interesting new plants to add to your garden.
Okay. So for our fandom feature this time, we are talking about the beautiful roses. And of course, we're all around Valentine's Day now. So roses are going to be a lot on our minds. Some people might be buying roses to have in their vases. They're lovely. They have a lot of different meanings, right, according to their color. But I thought of roses when I watched the awesome new series, WandaVision.
I love it.
Oh, such a great show. So exciting. And, you know, I some people might think about the intrigue or how badass Wanda is, which all are great reasons to think about the show. But the plant obsessed among us may have noticed that there were some roses in episode 2. Nothing in that world is meaningless after all. And the huge, luscious blooms in the yards of both Wanda and her fussy, mean girls-esque neighbor are quite noticeable. Vision refers to their roses as Wanda's handiwork, while Geraldine says that the neighbor's roses wouldn't dare not to bloom. Roses here are all about control, and that is most certainly part of their allure here outside of the hex as well. Humanity has been in an intense relationship with roses, at least since biblical times. At that point, the damask rose was enthralling people well before they had ornamental gardens at all. Throughout civilization, the rose has come with us, becoming the symbol of the Byzantines, among others, also a source of rose water, rose oil, and hailed for its medical properties. The church first banned it because it was just too pagan and all those rose headdresses were just out of control. Then later...
That's me.
right?
My pagan headdresses.
It's just too much fun. No fun. Stop the fun. But then later, once they realized that it was like a powerful like thing and that our relationship with roses wasn't going away, then it became a symbol for the church, right? So it's both. And today, many countries consider the rose a national symbol, including the US, which has at the White House the famous Rose Garden, used for state functions, and is also dug up and manipulated as often as the administration might like. Most recently, it was kind of gutted, but we'll see what the Bidens have in store for it. I'm excited to see. So who wouldn't want to control all of these powerful, ingrained cultural associations, you know? That's why countries do it, and churches, and we as people, as gardeners too. We pick and choose and science our way around a multitude of roses, creating a rose for every possible whim. There's your grandiflora, your floribunda, your polyantha, and your hybrid tea. Our roses are an obsession, so much so that we have a word for those who love them, rosarians. I think Kat and I are rosarians, don't you think?
Soon
Pretty sure.
becoming one. Yeah, I used to be intimidated by him, but now I'm enthralled.
I am still very intimidated, but, you know, enthralled as well is quite the word. Yeah. There's also a sheer carnal beauty of it. A rose is prim, it's proper, but also it's got petals upon creamy petals, a canvas upon which we can reflect our own deepest, darkest impulses. This flower inevitably starts people thinking in a sultry way, with its petals invoking the female anatomy. Perhaps as a result of all this intense feeling, roses have been used in fandom by a particular kind of villain. These are not villains content to wallow in a sewer. These villains use vicious means, but also can perceive beauty, kind of the Admiral Thrawns of the universe there. They perceive it enough to wish to control it, a combination that is particularly chilling. President Snow of the Hunger Games was one such villain, tending his roses even as he ordered those teens to their horrible deaths. And then there's the Queen in Alice in Wonderland, who's maniacal about everything, but nothing so much as the color of her roses. Is Wanda such a villain? I think her situation is more nuanced than that. Like the rose, Wanda has passion barely contained in its prim surroundings. She is complicated and her grief is ancient, and she burns with a sort of beauty. And like the rose, she is full of thorns too, and I cannot wait to see where that show goes next.
Me either. I also can't wait to see what our roses do in our gardens this year. I told you I'm obsessed. Yes. I'm obsessed with some bold. New.
Go big or go home, right?
Yeah. Well, I inherited some roses in this house that I did not take care of because it just seemed like they needed too much from me. But now I'm adopting and bringing in the ones that I can take care of. So
there you go. Yes. And I have ordered 3 rose bushes, because, you know, once you get an idea in your head, you just obsess about it. So I am now trying to plot how I'm going to fit these into my gardening regimen.
I do find when we've talked about names before, but that like I'm attracted to the names of these roses, much like, I don't know, when I bet on horses, when I go to when I've gone to the horse track, I don't know anything about it, but I'll just bet on the name. And that's the same with the roses. I kind of fall in love with the names of them. So
yeah, their names are very interesting, aren't they? They're named after famous people and like first ladies, and you've got like there's your all dressed up rose and your royal welcome rose, very delightfully pretentious kind of names a lot of the time.
I was trying to find the name of the one. Coco Loco was the one, and the Michelangelo. Ooh. Those are the ones that I recently obsessed. So Michelangelo has this freckled face that's of the rose. It's just so pretty. So
yes, and I've got a Frida Kahlo in my garden right now, which
is right.
Fabulous. It's like paint splattered all over the place.
She's on my wish list. So well, speaking
I'll find you a cutting.
I was going to say, okay, so speaking of wish list, so one of my goals in gardening this year was to be more organized in my planning. So I learned best through experience, and documenting my garden helps highlight what led to successes or failures. I use a regular notebook and some spreadsheets. In fact, this year I kind of went crazy with spreadsheets because I have so many new seeds I needed to learn about. But you can use, a bullet journal, an iPad. You can use a special garden journal created just for that purpose. Just give yourself the best tool that will work for you. Some ideas on what to add in your journal. Definitely add a calendar. Make sure you note that first and last frost date. We know this can be a changing pattern over the years that can help you decide when you're going to start seeds. Track weather and changes in your yard, like removing a tree or adding hardscaping, and that impact on your plants. My sister had to completely change her backyard planting from a tree being removed, and the sun completely changed. It was just so create a plant profile. That's what I'm spending a lot of time on right now. Add the notes about the plants. What are its needs? How to water it? Where you bought it? Did you start it from seed or did you buy an established plant? Where was it planted? When did it bloom? Sometimes I have kept the plant markers and the seed envelopes, and I just throw them in an envelope and I fill all that information in as I have time. Did you try new techniques? Write it down so you don't forget. This will help you analyze what worked for you. Have an idea file for new things you want to try. What tasks were done and when? Tracking this can really help you plan for next year. Fertilizer. How do you practice and what worked or didn't? This is something I really need to concentrate on. And pollinators and insects. Keep track of what you're seeing in your garden so you know if the plants you chose are successfully attracting these beneficial visitors. Jot down your wins and losses, what did really well, what is not doing well. Looking over all these notes later can help you make decisions. It's okay to say this plant is just not working out here. I know that we talk about mourning that. And have a planning section, and you can be making notes in real time of what you want to change or add for next year. Have a section in the back for your wish list for next year, from your plants to tools to hardscaping features. And then have a sketch area. You can exercise that artistic side and sketch out your plants or take photos and add them. Add a map. You can add a yearly mapped out sketch of your yard and the garden areas that so you can visualize all those annual changes at a glance. I'm using some free template pages I found on gardeners.com to help plan out my kitchen garden this year. They have like these ready-made plans that are really easy to plug in and kind of visualize. I had a hard time like really seeing what I want to do. Have an envelope in the back of your journal and keep all those plant receipts for any of those plants that you've purchased that have a grow guarantee. A lot of plants have a 100% guarantee, and they take them back if they don't thrive. So Karen, I know that you journal as well, and do you have any tips that you'd like to share?
Yeah, I do indeed. I have a few different nature journals for a variety of purposes. One is just where I put down what I did on a certain day, what I planted or what blossomed when, just for future reference. It's not very organized, but if I only have like 10 seconds and I just planted something, I can just throw it down, boom, and that way I know exactly where it is. But lately, I want to get into that artistic side that you just mentioned. I've been inspired by Emily Dickinson lately, thanks to the show that is out. It's in its second season now. It's called Dickinson, and it's great. It's a really cool new take on Emily Dickinson and her plant obsessions and what they mean to her, as well as her poetry, of course. And I love how Emily appreciates nature from just a variety of different angles. What does it mean to her? What does this tree mean? What does this flower mean? So I'm starting a new notebook now where I'm going to have a page for each plant, and I'm going to write down details about fertilizer and all, like you mentioned, but also little poems about it, little sketches, and I'm going to dry flowers from each plant if it has flowers. I have a little drying apparatus I got off Amazon. I'm going to dry a flower and maybe a leaf if it fits and just tack it in there, Emily Dickinson style, just like she did.
I love that idea. I can't wait to see as it changes throughout the season. So staying on theme for our winter months where we are in planting mode, I wanted to go over a few herbs and plants that you can grow in containers or in your garden to make some excellent garden-tini cocktail recipes that we've been featuring in our making and baking section. So let's see. I think basil, we've gone over several Gardentini recipes in the past episodes. Basil is just a must for both culinary and cocktail purposes. Rosemary, mostly used in cocktails that have gin or vodka as a base. It's cold hardy, so it's great to have in your winter drinks. Thyme is great in summer cocktails with a citrusy vodka. Mint, we've gone over, Karen had a great recipe for the chocolate mint. You can also use any of that mint family to yummify your adult beverages. Lemon verbena, it adds a citrus punch if you muddle it into a drink, or it's great just as a simple syrup ingredient. Pineapple sage, with both plant and flower being edible, this lovely herb can go in some of your tropical cocktails with a rum base. Chamomile, it adds a lovely floral taste to infusions and liqueurs. And alpine strawberries and cucumbers are something you can grow. They're fantastic to muddle in or use as garnishes for your drinks. That's just a few ideas for what you can add to your kitchen garden or your herb garden to ready make some of these favorite Gardentini creations. So in honor of Galentine's Day, that Leslie Knope designated day set aside where we show our love for our lady friends, this is just something we wholeheartedly endorse. I thought
Oh
that
my goodness, yeah.
I thought our Gardentini.
How about uteruses over deuteruses there?
Let's see. So the Gardentini feature this week is just going to be a winter sangria with rosemary. We are in the depths of our snowy winter days here in Maryland, and I haven't been able to make my mulled wine outside on the fire pit in a while. So I thought we'd share this winter sangria. We can enjoy it inside, cuddled up with a favorite podcast, perhaps. Now, my Brazilian friend Leni makes her mulled wine with fresh ginger, so I'm just going to borrow that ingredient for the sangria and make a simple syrup with some of that grated fresh ginger. For those with a soda stream, you can use this ginger simple syrup for some homemade ginger ale too. For the recipe, just like any sangria, you're just going to chop up some fruits. Use apples, oranges, pears, grapes, whatever you have. Put them in the bottom of the pitcher and muddle them. Add a cup of orange juice to taste. Add a third cup of brandy and muddle it into the fruit. I should say you could do that to taste too. Too much brandy, never going to hurt anyone.
No, that sounds like a great thing.
Add that simple syrup, which is that sugar, water, ginger. Throw in some cinnamon sticks. Add a bottle of red wine. A cheap blend works great in a sangria. And add those sprigs of rosemary to the pitcher. And then add them as a garnish to your serving glasses. Then call up your gal pals on Zoom and toast to your friendship and to the days when we can all be together to celebrate safely again.
Yay, I can't wait.
So happy Galentine's Day, Karen.
Happy Galentine's Day, Kat. And ovaries before broveries, right?
Exactly.
Always.
So thank you for joining us today. We thought we'd wrap up the show by sharing some stuff that we're digging right now. What are you digging, Karen?
Yes, indeed. I am digging. Well, I'm a preschool teacher, and one of the crafts that we're making next month that I'm really excited about has to do with grass seeds. We're going to take little clear plastic cups and put grass seed on top, just regular wheat grass seed you can get off anywhere. And then because we're crazy little kid stuff, we're going to put googly eyes on there and then a little smile.
So they're going to have grown hair.
Yes, they're going to have hair. It's going to be cute little hairy grass pot people that we can give them little haircuts and all. I'm super psyched about that. And little kids always get super excited to see all the little roots come down because the cup is clear. You can see the roots.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes, I am very excited about our little grass ups.
Let's say, well, I am digging also something botanical. I am digging dahlias. Much like our dear groundhog, I am retreating from winter into the warmth of fuzzy socks and my cozy couch. I'm perusing all the seed catalogs and websites. I think you were doing the same thing today. And I'm especially taken with all of the dazzling array of dahlias. Now, I have seen dahlias before, but I swear I have missed all this whole world of all the different button size to the dinner plate size varieties, all those colors and textures. They have it all. I somehow missed out. I think I had just like 1 or 2 dahlias I've seen in gardens, and I just have missed out that there's this huge world of variety. So and also I've run into where they're just sold out. They're sold out everywhere already. I think a lot of us are running into that. So I've ordered some, but I've definitely added a lot more to that wish list in my garden journal. So c'est la vie. It'll just have to be when it happens. So
Yes, I love that. Yes, there are some that are just enormous. Yeah, and just gorgeous. I've got a couple of paintball dahlias coming pretty soon. I'm very excited about that. So that'll be something to look forward to at the end of summer.
yeah, absolutely.
All right. So please come and find us on Instagram at Geeks in the Garden or Facebook at Geeks in the Garden. You can find extra content and details on our blog at geeksinthegarden.weebly.com or search on YouTube for our channel Geeks in the Garden.
That's right. And please subscribe on Apple Podcasts. Follow us on Spotify, Stitcher, all those fine podcast streamers. You can send us comments and questions at geeksgardenpodcasts@gmail.com.
Yeah, and join us on our next show where we're talking about spring cleaning outside. Brood 10 cicadas, which I have a love-hate relationship with. I think they're so cool, but all my little tiny baby trees, I'm so anxious. So we'll be talking about my anxiety, which is always a topic rife with possibilities. We'll also go back to the future, plus give an update on our adventures in winter sowing and more.
That's right. Now go get dirty.
And have some fun.